is Dorsey to throw. Yeah! He throws it in the end zone.
Yeah! Off to the races. Can they catch it? Cuts it back. Ohio State
The Ohio State of Mind podcast hosted by Josh Keatley and Michael Chin.
Wow. Thank you, Chris. That was absolutely amazing. I am absolutely speechless. Thank you for taking the time to do that. I know how much work that takes. So we very much appreciate it. That was absolutely awesome. So big props out to Chris for producing that open. That was amazing. Welcome into the 41st, the Keith Byers edition of the Ohio State of Mind podcast. I am your host, Michael Chen. On the other side with me is Joshua Keatley. Chris, we're going to have to get your name in there somewhere on that intro. We got to put you as like a producer or something because, you know, if you're gonna be here on a regular basis, man, we got to get you some credit over here.
I told Josh I am beyond gracious for you guys allowing me to come on here talk Buckeye football. I'm in the Army. I've been in everywhere. I've been in Georgia, North Carolina, Japan, Oklahoma. And
So you know Connor then. Stallions?
Oh, we'll get to that.
Yes, we will. So that's obviously one of the things that we're going to talk about. Josh, have you had a chance to watch it yet?
Dude, I'm not gonna watch it. I actually talked to Chris earlier, but hey, before we go to that, dude, there's some other 41s here. The Keith Byers, I think, is definitely the best.
Sorry,
Keith Byers is definitely.
I jumped the gun. My bad.
He's definitely the best pick. Probably would have he probably would have a Heisman Trophy if not for a busted up foot and Doug Flutie. But that's neither here nor there. Also went on, had an electric career in the NFL despite having that injury. Played fullback, tight end, running back, all that good stuff. Tom Matte is another good pick, a guy who played quarterback at Ohio State and running back. Went on to have a very good career in the NFL. Matt Snell is another good pick, played fullback, running at Ohio State, went on to play fullback for the Jets, part of the Super Bowl III Super Bowl winning team. So yeah, there's a couple good 41s in there. I hope I'm not missing anybody. I'm scrolling through really fast, but I think that those are the big ones. Oh, yeah, and then Vic Janowicz, of course. Vic Janowicz did play in 41 for a year, despite winning the Heisman Trophy wearing 31. So we want to throw that out there as well.
Yeah, we just
also played professional baseball.
Yeah, obviously, it was pretty easy. I don't think anybody even had a conversation about whether or not it was going to be Keith Byers. Like we all knew that's what was coming. I didn't even talk to you guys. You guys had it up, or Chris, you had it ready to go. You knew it. It was easy pick. So.
I tell you, the hardest thing is trying to find a picture of Vic Janowicz wearing 41. They don't exist, I swear.
They probably don't. They're in some sort of archive somewhere. It's hard to find. But anyways, so Josh, haven't seen it. Chris?
Haven't seen it.
Haven't seen it. Okay, so I'm the only one who has seen it.
Well, can I tell you why I didn't watch it?
Yes, of course.
I don't need to. I know first of all, the event just happened last year, so I don't need him to narrate for me what happened. It's still being investigated. It feels too soon. I don't really care. It's been proven. He did it. They did it. They cheated. It is what it is. Now the big question is how much are they going to get punished? The thing that I really found the most annoying from the documentary is that all these people saying, well, there you go. There you have it. Harbaugh never knew. And it's like, okay, let's say he didn't. Knew. There's either two options. Either A, he knew and he was a part of it and he blatantly cheated, which I think is the truth because he gave the guy a fucking game ball. Or two, he didn't know and he was so oblivious and up his own asshole that he couldn't keep track of what his staff was doing, which might honestly be even worse in my opinion, right? Because then he's lost institutional control. But either way, it doesn't matter. That part is so strange to me that these people are grasping to that. Like, Harbaugh didn't know. Harbaugh didn't know. Even if he didn't know, it's still bad and embarrassing.
It's under his watch. Regardless of whether he knew or not, this is his team, his program.
Yeah.
He takes the fall, right?
Tressel got in trouble for lack of institutional control. It was nothing to do with Tattoo Gate and selling tattoos. Lack of institutional control. He didn't know what was going on beneath him. Same thing.
Right. Exactly. And the whole thing for me is that like he had to know who he was. Obviously, we've got the game ball here that they've shown. If you guys end up watching it, Stallions went on to say that when Harbaugh gave him the game ball, he told him, "Don't let your head get too big." Like, and it's just like, that right there, that should nullify any argument that any Michigan fan should have that says that Harbaugh didn't know. Harbaugh knew. Everyone knew. The coaches knew. The assistants knew. The players knew. I mean, they interviewed, I think it was Mike Morris, the linebacker. I might be not getting his name correctly, but they interviewed a linebacker from the team, and like he knew exactly who Stallions was able to spot him while he was wearing one of those cover-up masks at the national championship game just by seeing his eyes. I mean, come on. If the players knew, the coaches had to know, multiple people had to know. I mean, another aspect of this that I found super interesting was, so he started off at Navy as an assistant doing the same thing, right? And then he went to a coaches conference and he pretty much said, how do I help out the program? And they literally told him to show up the next day and we'll figure out something for you to do. That doesn't sound like a vetting process. That sounds like they knew exactly who they were hiring and why they were hiring him for and what they were hiring him for. So I'm not buying that he didn't know. I mean, first off, that guy in the lower right, he is a piece of trash. Dave Portnoy sucks. I don't care if the Barstool people come after me. I really could care less.
I agree.
But I don't think he's a good person.
No.
I don't like his the way he runs his company. And on top of that, if you're such a big fan and you understand that the NCAA could potentially use your interview as evidence, he pretty much said that was Stallions on the sideline. Josh Pate of On3, I believe, he has also said that. Actually, I think Josh Pate is 247. But anyways, he has said that he has been told that wasn't the only game that Stallions was on the sidelines for, and it could have been other teams aside from Central Michigan. So he doesn't have proof. He has people who are in the know who has told them. They don't have like definitive proof that that's actually the case. But if there's rumors going around, and if he was actually on the sidelines, which, hey, we're still waiting, right? We don't know whether that was him or not. How long does it take? Everybody who's supposed to be on the field, right? Everybody on the field. If you have a pass, if you have authorization, you're not getting on the field.
Agreed.
How did this guy get on the field? They knew he was there. So what's taking them so long to say, yeah, it was him? They're just waiting. I think they're going to get hit with some sort of NCAA penalty. I don't know what. But I think they'll get hit. I mean, obviously, there's former Michigan Jim McElwain, who was the head coach there, was an assistant under Harbaugh for a number of years. So there's connections there. So Harbaugh must have been like, hey, this is working, Jim. Why don't you, have my guy come over and help out a little bit and advance scout for us against Michigan State as well. So, there's a lot going on here. The NOA was sent over to Michigan. Warren Emanuel actually spoke today, and I thought his comments were very, very interesting. He pretty much said that he's not going to fall on the sword for this. He's going to fight for things that he believes that need to be fought for, because, a lot of Michigan fans are like, we need to fight. We need to take this to court. We need to bury the NCAA, blah, 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 this and that. Well, he's pretty much saying that if they are found in the wrong and all the evidence points to that, then there's no reason to fight it. And that's pretty much what I believe is happening right now, is that they have so much evidence against what Michigan did that there's no reason to try and fight this, because they are not going to win.
It's a losing battle.
Yeah. I'm very interested to see what comes out of this. They have 90 days in order to make a response, and then 30 days after that, I think the NCAA will make a response. So you're looking right around, the end of the season when we're going to find out what happens. And like I said before, with them doing that show cause for Harbaugh, I think that was the first part of this, so that they could go after that lack of institutional control aspect of it, because now it's multiple instances over that course of time, and it's not just a one-off where they made one mistake and they're correcting it. There's multiple mistakes going on within the program, and I'm curious to see what happens. I think a lot of people, again, Michigan fans are under the impression that this is a nothing burger, that they're not going to have anything come to them, maybe scholarship reductions or something like that. But I think it's going to be worse than that. I think you're going to see, them taking all the wins away from the past 3 years. That includes the national championship as well. I think a lot of people across the country don't even, they register that they won the title, but I don't think they, it's a tainted title, just because of the allegations. And yeah, he wasn't around during their run in the college football playoff, and obviously at the end of the season, when they beat Ohio State and everything. But they still had all that information. It's hard for teams to install whole new signals in the middle of the season, because that's not what they're working on. They do that in the off season. They install that in the spring. They install that, early on in the fall, and then they start getting to game prep. Like this week, like they're not changing signals this week. They're getting ready for their game against Akron. So I just feel like there's something coming. And I know I've been rambling. I mean, what do you guys think? Do you guys think that, this is going to blow over, or is this something that is as big as we all think it is?
Chris, I'll let you go. Let you go first before I give my final thoughts, and then we can move on to the games.
So
yeah.
Well, first and foremost, to the 23 viewers, you guys could be anywhere in the world, but you're here. Thank you for tuning in. Yeah. My thing is, hey, I mean, am I under the wrong assumption that it seems like almost Connor Stallions is the one who sought out this special? Like, am I wrong? And it didn't seem like any of it kind of put the trail in some other direction. Like, oh, hey, here's the game ball that Coach Harbaugh gave me for deciphering signals against Iowa. Like, okay, like, that is Michigan standard for game ball worthy. That blew my mind. 2, oh, hey, I happened to be at a coaching conference, and I walked up to the linebackers like, hey, I'm a devout Michigan alum and fan. Yeah, I'll see you Monday. Like, what?
It's not.
Jobs go easier to some other people than I ever could imagine.
That is not how it works in the coaching world.
Right.
It is not.
And, I think I haven't seen it, but I've seen a plethora of clips. But, like, literally, when he was sitting there with his lawyers, his panel, and the NCAA was, asking their series of questions like, hey, you bought over 30 sets of tickets this last season. How many did you ever give them to people? Absolutely. Oh, did they ever record film? Oh, I couldn't tell you. But then he turns around and is like, oh yeah, it's I've had friends send me film. It's kind of like when your aunt gives you a Christmas gift you already have. And he says, I've already have them memorized. Like, I get it to an extent. Like, okay, we could say it. I know Josh is going to say it. Everybody knows people's fucking signs, but to this extent is baffling to me. It's utterly baffling. And let's be real, there is nobody in the world is Central Michigan in a dome. Am I wrong to think that? Are they have
no,
I think they're open
not
air.
dome.
Yeah.
Okay, but he's the only one on the sidelines with sunglasses. Okay, but
at night when
it was like a Thursday night game. By the way,
you can see that when people have those glasses cameras, that little blue light that turns on when they're recording. Oh yeah,
well, it's like that, and they handed him the picture of it, and he was like, "This, like, oh come on, dude, like, stop it."
And literally 2 seconds later, Portnoy's like, "Yeah, that was him. He told me it was." It's like,
and don't get me wrong, I'm in the same Dave Portnoy. Me and my wife, we're in the same Dave Portnoy train of thought with you. But like, he's like, yeah, I know it because Connor told me it was him. Like, come on. Like, this is utterly ridiculous. Yes, are there big time sanctions coming down? Absolutely. Did I think we'd maybe hear something about Coach Sherrod more by Thursday? Yes, but I don't think that's happened. They're worrying about if Alex Orji is going to beat out a walk-on to be the starting quarterback still. So I'll sit. I'll wait. You know what I want. I know what the both. I assume I know what the both of you want, but it's going to be a long and arduous process, I think. Josh?
Yeah, I think I don't know how to start. I think it is going to end up being a nothing burger. Unfortunately, I don't think it should be though. We've talked about this pretty in depth, Michael, in the past. We
Yeah.
both believe that a harsh punishment is deserved. I don't think, as far as the whole, hey, I'm just a genius, so I know their signs. No, there's more to it than that, because when you pick up somebody's signs, you pick up like one or two, and then the rest you're like, okay, that means run, that means pass, or so you have an idea. But I mean, not to the extent of what he's talking about, right? Plus, it doesn't matter whether he's a genius or not. You could, if you're taking steroids, and even if you don't need the steroids, you still used them. You still, did the wrong things, right? You still broke the rules. One more thing there's two more things I want to add about the documentary. I didn't like how the lawyer also insinuated that someone at Ohio State got access to Connor Stallion's files in a legal manner. To me, that's like a kind of a cop-out. It's like, dude, what's next? Ohio State also hacked into Matt Weiss's information, the offensive coordinator who was fired for online criminal crimes that we still don't know what that means. Did Ohio State hack into Alex Yude's Snapchat and pretend to be a 13-year-old? No, I don't think so. You know what I mean? Like this stuff all kind of happened around the same time period too. So that's the kind of insanity that I just thought that was kind of silly. I do think that they need to be, something serious needs to take place. I don't think it will. I actually don't mind Dave Portnoy. I think he's kind of a douche, but I don't have a vast hatred for him. He's the guy. Connor Stallion. I didn't learn it. I don't know, man. We'll see. I hope something serious does happen, but I'm worried it's just going to be a slap on the wrist and take some scholarships away. And as Mike has already mentioned a couple times, Michigan doesn't recruit very well anyways. So I don't know if the scholarship, and I think they're going to be on the downturn. They lost Harbaugh. They lost the heartbeat of the program. So I don't foresee them being very good the next 3 years anyway. So any future punishment is probably good news for them, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, it definitely makes sense. I mean, I think you're going to be wrong about the nothing burger. I think something's going to come of it.
I hope I am.
Even if it's, scholarship reductions in bowl ban, I think something's going to come. I don't think it's just going to be,
right.
Slap on the wrist, don't do it again.
That's my fear, though. It's going to be stuff, you can't go to the Gator Bowl. And it's like, dude,
right.
Who cares? Right. They win the national because I don't think that they see the national championship tainted. We can scream that it's tainted from the rooftops, but if I'm a Michigan fan, I bought that merch. That's going to be forever.
Yeah. I get that. Like, I do hate memories forever. That they won the games. And all that, but the record books aren't going to show. Is what I'm.
One last thing that we do need to move on. I do want to mention too, a couple of Michigan people have reached out and they've said, "Whoa, the NCAA's got such a hard on for us. The NCAA's got such a hard on for us." Yes, you are right. I don't know. You are correct. If another school got busted in this, I don't know if they'd have been treated as harshly. You might be right. This is a pretty subjective. We know that the NCAA is pretty subjective in how they do things. If Ole Miss was busted doing this, do I think that they would be getting into trouble? Probably not. But I tell you what, Harbaugh being a dick his entire existence at Michigan to the NCAA did not help. He started with the satellite camps. They said, please don't do that. And he said, fuck you, I'm doing them. He was bitching about every other Big Ten coach in the league doing something, whether it was the practices during COVID for Ohio State or paying for travel for parents. That every time someone stepped on his sneakers, he bitched to the NCAA. That, so when he does something bad, they're going to be like, okay. Plus, we already talked about, he lied about that whole breakfast burger thing with the recruit. When you lie to the NCAA and you make them look like fools, that puts a target on your back. So I'm not going to deny that. I'm not going to sit here and act like Michigan doesn't have a target on their back and they're not being hunted out. They are. And whether that's fair or not, I don't know. But what I can tell you is that Harbaugh did that to himself. So that's the last thing I'll say about it.
I agree with everything you just said there, Josh. I totally agree. I think that if things were going on like this at a different school and the NCAA approached them and they didn't like
Fight and
pretty much
scratch.
comply. Right. Like it said, all right, go ahead, look at all of our stuff, punish us. It wouldn't be as bad. But denying, he continues to deny to this day that he was unaware of what was going on. I mean, that's just like, sorry, that's just not like we talked about earlier. That's just not going to fly.
Exactly.
All right.
Exactly.
Any other thoughts on this?
What's
Netflix
your
doc?
what's the Harbaugh quote that sticks in your craw more? The constant never lie, never cheat, never steal, or the some people hit a triple when they're already started on third base?
I think it's the lie and cheat and steal.
Every conference.
Yeah. I mean, he pretty much started on third base too. Let's be real here.
Yep.
Let's be real here. His father was a coach. He got easily into coaching. Like most professions, it's not what you do, it's who you know.
Yeah,
and
that's. I'm not going to shit on Hart. I mean, it was a really quarterback. It was a really good. He went at San Diego, a place that doesn't win much. He went at Stanford. Dude, San Diego was.
I'm not saying that he's a bad coach. I'm just saying that he was given an opportunity that some people might not have because of his father.
That's true. That's
all I'm saying.
And that's fair. I can't. All right, that might be true. That might be true. All I'm saying is,
he had a built-in advantage. His brother did too.
He did. There's no denying that. It's just
his brother did too. His brother did too.
He is a good coach. But yeah, I agree though. That the lie, cheat, steal thing, the Eddie Guerrero line was much more offensive than the third base line because the third base line was true. So
he inherited a damn good program. And it happens when you like you could say that about Kalen DeBoer too, right?
Yep.
Like you could say that about a lot of coaches. I mean, it is the reality of the situation. But
well, that's a topic for another time.
But yes,
let's
get into that some other time. However, yeah, right. However, we got games this week, boys. We got games this week.
Now.
It has been oh my goodness, it is finally here. So excited! Ohio State gets it going. Akron. Let's get this game first. We'll go into the rest of the Big Ten. But the Buckeyes have a lot going for them. A huge spread. 50 and a half. Josh, you're our resident gambler. Tell me about what you think about that spread.
Now, let me go ahead and let me state that the spread was
pulled I am
on what day? Because I have I have 49, and this was via ESPN.
Okay, this was ESPN on Monday.
Okay, so it went down a little bit or up. I'm sorry.
Yes.
Oof.
Yeah.
Josh, what do you think of this? What do you think of this crazy spread?
I would take Ohio State. This is not a game I'm going to be. Let me rephrase that. As of now, I have no money on this game. Ryan Day is about 50-50 as far as spreads, especially spreads this large. He did not beat the spread against Youngstown State. He did not beat I don't think he beat the spread against Western Kentucky. So, I mean, it's not a bad thing, or it's just a giant spread. A key thing to know, 49, even though it is huge, it is a key number. So getting it down from 50.5 to 49 does make it a little bit more likable, right? Because 7, 4, 35, 42, 49. It is a key number because that's divisible by 7. But I would lean Ohio State. I expect Ryan Day to unleash the dogs and really try to figure out his offense and not do what he did last year and try to eat. Last year, it felt like he was trying to figure out what his team. He was trying to make sure that his team found a groove. This time, I think he's going to put the pedal to the metal and figure out what his team can do, right? So, and I expect it to be much more highs than lows. I expect Chip Kelly to really enjoy his new toys and really put that in motion as well. There's a lot of new pieces. When there's a lot of new pieces, that's when teams typically open up the toy chest, right? And that's not just an Ohio State thing. That's an everybody thing. Again, I haven't put any money on it, but that's kind of where I lead. I do think that Ohio State is presented a pretty unique opportunity because Akron is not a good team. I want to be very clear about that. They're not a good team, but they have a really, really good defensive line for a MAC school, that is, right? And the MAC has produced some decent defensive line talent. Terrell Basham from Ohio, Khalil Mack from Buffalo. There's been other Vinny Curry from Marshall. Well, of course, they're in the Sun Belt now, but they have CJ Nunnally, who is going to be a draft pick this year. He had 7 sacks last year, 6'3", 230, a little bit undersized as the defensive end, but that's a guy who's got a good motor. Right. They have Bennett Adler on the other side, 6'3", 265. He's not as good, Ohio kid, but he's pretty active. Nathan Kapongo is a defensive tackle that they got from New Hampshire. Very, very good. Played at an All-American level at New Hampshire. And I think that is going to transition well to the MAC, 6'4", 292 pounds, not a small boy. And then the other defensive tackle, Lamaliava, he was a transfer from New Mexico State last year, played really well last year, looks like an all-conference performer this year, 6'1", 300-pounder. So I say all that to let you know that, we talked all offseason about the Ohio State offensive line, potentially being the Achilles heel. This is going to be a good opportunity because if the Ohio State offensive line plays like shit, they're still going to win the game, and they're still going to win the game by a large margin. It's not going to affect Ohio State. But we should be able to tell if Ohio State's offensive line is good, right? Or have a better indicator, right? Because this is, most small schools like this, they have, a good quarterback or good wide receiver. No, this team it's got a very healthy. Joe Moorhead has done a really good job bringing in some pretty good, man talent in the trenches. Not so much for some reason he's having a lot of trouble on the offensive line, but the defensive line he did do that. The quarterback can also swing the ball. What I say? Pause.
You got me choking up your man talent. I'm like dying over
man
here
talent.
now.
So their quarterback is also can sling the ball pretty well. He's a transfer from Cal. He was actually at NC State. He's seen a few reps, so I expect him to be able to sling the rock a little bit. He also got a running back from Michigan State, Jordan Simmons. He's got like over 500 yards in like the 30 games he played at Michigan State, so he's no slouch either. I don't think that's going to be enough for them to do anything. Like I said, though, the defensive line is what should really be the test for Ohio State. That's kind of my takeaway for the game.
Gotcha. Chris?
Like I said, hey, we've got Akron coming into Columbus. That is a Saturday, 3:30 p.m. Eastern. That game will be on CBS. Make sure you guys, anyone out there listening, we have a new network change. If you didn't make the jump from last year, we are now on CBS. Again, hey, is Ryan Day putting these starters out there to display some talent? How long will we see them? I mean, with that, like the conversation we had last week, how many quarterbacks will we see? Hey, is Chip Kelly still the mastermind he once was? Josh already talked about the offensive line. Hey, Akron, for a MAC school, has a good defensive line. Can we gauge any of this offensive improvement with the opponent in Akron? And of course, this defense, we know they're studs. They played well last year. All offseason, they've been claiming, hey, we're BIA, best in America. Can we gauge that as well? Again, it's Akron, but
yeah, that's I'm
excited. It's football's back. Football starts tomorrow at noon, but we've got the game Saturday at 3:30 Eastern.
Yeah,
man, that Akron offense is pretty rough, dude.
Yeah,
that's gonna be
that number is just too big for me. 49 is just too big. I don't think they come. I think that I'd take the over on the total though, for sure. I'd take that, but I think Akron's going to score.
Gun to your head, though.
I just think it's because Akron's going to score a couple garbage touchdowns. That's
Chris. Do you agree with that? Would you also take Akron on this spread?
Yeah, I would.
We got 2 Akrons and Ohio. I'm on an island.
Yeah, it's just too big. If it was, 44, fair. I'd take Ohio State. Give them a couple extra points.
With Mike saying some garbage time too, hey, you're going to see some 2s and 3s in there.
Oh yeah,
you see them a little earlier than later, but you're going to see some 2s and 3s in there. And Akron's going to put up a few points, not a whole lot, but they're going to do something.
I think so too. I'd take the over. I'd take the point total over them for sure.
Agreed.
I don't disagree with that. Like I said, I don't feel strongly about it. It's not a game I have money on. I guess my thought process was, even if the Ohio State backups do play, what would the Ohio State backups be favored against Akron? I would still say 28 points.
That was
If Devin
exactly the
Brown,
number.
Jaden
Literally,
Ballard,
that is literally the exact number that popped in my head. I'm like, backups probably 28.
I think that's fair, right? So
No,
my
I think
thought process is
I think
all right.
28 would be the backups. I think 28 would be fair. I
Yeah,
do.
yeah.
I do. But yeah, I just think that, just like Chris said, I think we're going to see a lot of second and third teamers get some run, especially considering the lower level opponent. The fact that Ryan Day has multiple times said that they need to establish more depth because of a potentially longer season with the college football playoff expansion. So yeah, no, I just think that, there's going to be a couple of, you know, freshmen, sophomores who haven't seen the field that are going to have some mental mistakes. And I think it will cost the Buckeyes a couple of points at the end of the day. They're going to win. I don't, it's not a question of whether they're going to win or not. That what we're talking about is the spread here. And I just don't think that they'll cover it. But let's, Josh, we talked about one thing that we want to see from the Buckeyes. So let's talk about that. What do you want to see, or we can go to Chris. Either one is fine, or I can start. What do we want to see? What do we want to see on Saturday?
Well, I think I covered mine already. I'm really going to be focused on the offensive line. I do think that that's really the only true. Or Akron's not a good team. I don't want to sit here and fool you guys. Joe Moorhead's a really good coach. Eventually, Akron is going to be hunting for a MAC championship. It's not this year, but I do think that Akron does have a good defensive line. So I'm going to be watching the offensive line. I think that that's going to be really the only unit we're going to be able to see. Hey, do they look good or not, right? But that's kind of it. I don't know if we're going to be able to gauge anything else. The Akron offense is bad, so even if the defense dominates and keeps them scoreless, I don't know if that tells us anything.
Okay, Chris.
Agreed. Yeah, I'm gonna go same sheet of music here. I'm with the offensive line. If I were to pick, an individual, obviously, hey, you want to see Jeremiah Smith, you want to see Quinshon Judkins play. Honestly, I think as vibrantly as Coach Day has talked about this individual, I want to see the improvement with my own eyes of Sonny Styles. That's who I want to see. Ryan Day went in that presser yesterday and was raving about him. Can that guy be an anchor of many anchors on that defensive front or that linebacking core? And I want to see if he's up to it. He's flying around. He's taking control out there. So Sonny Styles. Like I said, Jeremiah Smith's an easy one. Quinshon Judkins an easy one. Caleb Downs is an easy one.
I think that the Sonny Styles pick is a really good pick because this is a game where you can build confidence if you're a defensive player. It's hard. I shouldn't say it's not hard. It's easier to build confidence on the defense if you're lost, right? If you're Jeremiah Smith is gonna have. I think he can shine too. I don't want to make this confusing, but he is going to have to be in the right area. He's not able to run the wrong route and still shine, right? Sonny Styles, if they're having him dropping back into coverage and he decides to take off, that kid's athletic enough and Akron is bad enough, he could get a sack for 20 yards. That builds a lot of confidence in you when you do the wrong thing and it turns out to be really good. We saw Darren Lee make a career out of it. Right. And I'm not saying he's going to do that, but it's a good opportunity for someone who is at a new position, who's kind of being thrown to the wolves a little bit. Right. He's been programmed for a bit to have him get his footing. Right. This is a good confidence game. It's not like Oregon where, dude, you got to be in the right place. Your athleticism will only get you so far against Oregon. Against Akron, he could do 7. He can be completely lost, start out going the wrong way, Jim Marshall style, and still should be able to shine.
Yeah.
So I like that pick, Chris.
Yeah, no, I like that pick too. I think it's a good one. I can't disagree with the offensive line, but I don't want to harp on that because you guys have already touched on it. So I'm going to take another group that Chris barely touched on. I think it's the wide receivers. It's not just Jeremiah Smith for me. I want to see what the other guys can do. I want to see what that rotation is going to look like as well. You've got 2 young guys starting, Parnell Tate along with Jeremiah Smith. We all know what Emeka Egbuka is. As long as he stays healthy, he's a 1,000-yard wide receiver. But there's not a lot of depth and experience behind it. And I think that this is a game where, like you just talked about, Josh, establishing that confidence. And I think you can do that. Against a team like Akron, make a couple of catches, start getting, the feel for playing against someone who's not wearing your same colors, getting out in front of Ohio Stadium and feeling the 100,000 people in that crowd because you can't simulate that, especially as a young player. Like Jeremiah Smith has never played really in an environment that he will play in on Saturday. How is he going to respond to that? I think he's going to respond marvelously because I think he's, as we talked about, and I thought early on and continued to think that he was going to be in the top 3 on the wide receiver depth chart, and that turned out to be the case. And I just think that he's ready for the moment, but he is going to have some freshman struggles. We definitely wouldn't like to see them against Akron in his first game because of all the hype. But if he only catches 2 balls for 50 yards, are people going to be angry about that? I don't know. But I'm just curious as to see, how the rest of the guys go, how much time, Rogers is going to get, Inez is going to get, Ballard's going to get. They want a 6-man rotation there. So who are the guys behind the top 3? I mean, you have to expect some of those guys that I named off, they're going to step up and play. You just don't know. The 5-star freshman from Indiana, his name is eluding me. I think he has an opportunity to play as well. He's a late enrollee.
Mylan Graham?
Mylan Graham, thank you.
Just got his black stripe removed. Yeah.
Exactly. Get your black stripe removed, you're going to play. How much will he play? I mean, let's be real here. If we're talking about a guy that isn't getting enough hype, it's this young man. He was a 5-star recruit as well, and nobody's really talking about him. So I think that there's potential that he could crack the 6 deep at wide receiver. Maybe not right away, but I think he might get his feet wet in a game like this and then really start to do it over practice because, yes, he came in late, so he's a little bit behind the ball than some of the other players are who enrolled early. But I still think that he has an opportunity to really shine. And that's an offense. That's my biggest, aside from offensive line. I have virtually no questions on the defense. We're nitpicking with Sonny Styles. We want to see him play well. We know he's got the talent to play well, right? We're not 100% sure about the wide receiver unit or the offensive line. So, we already touched on the O-line, so that's why I want the wide receivers. But I'm just curious to see how it goes. Are they going to, how are we going to run the ball 20 times? And then that takes away from some touches that the wide receivers would get. So a line might not look as great as you would like it to. Will Howard throw for 250, 300 yards? I don't know. With the starters in, and then the backups come in, maybe they make some noise, but you might see a couple of guys that aren't expected to, really get the main run in big games to have good games. So that would be a good thing in my eyes, because again, you want to create that depth, especially with the longer season coming. So, that's what I'm looking for, the offense. I really think that that's the key to the season this year. I think the defense, as we all know, is continue to improve year over year. And Jim Knowles, I think this is his most talented defense that he's had in his 3 years at Ohio State. And, I don't have too many concerns about that side of the ball. For me, it's mostly.
No. Yeah, I like the wide receiver answer as well. It's hard to say that because Akron's their defensive backs are just not good. Now they do have a 4-star cornerback who's a transfer from Oregon, but he transferred from Oregon because he was never ever going to see the field at Oregon. But I mean, I don't know. But there's still opportunities to see, how that rotation is going to look. How fast can someone get in a groove with Will Howard? Maybe it's not Emeka Egbuka that gets in a groove with him. Maybe it is Jeremiah Smith or Jaden Bell. I don't know.
Yeah.
No, but there are some other things that you can take away from the game, despite the talent difference being so huge.
For sure. Definitely.
All right, on to the next one.
On to the next one. So again, hey, to the 32 viewers, thank you for being here. You could be anywhere else in the world, and you decided to be here. Like I said earlier, hey, Thursday kicks off Big Ten football, and Thursday at 12 noon Eastern, we've got Howard coming in to Shai Stadium play Rutgers. As of Monday, there was no spread for this game, and some game notes. Coach Greg Schiano is 3-0 versus FCS programs with a combined score of 163-23. Ooh. And Josh, go ahead and say that quarterback's name for me because I know you love it.
Athen Melikimikilakmaka. No, Kalikimanis, dude. Kalikimanis, the Greek rifle. He was supposed to be at Minnesota before he fizzled out like a water pistol.
There it is.
Yeah, dude, the Greek rifle, the water pistol. But yeah, man, let's shoot through these. I think we all agree Rutgers is going to pound Howard, right?
36 and a half according to ESPN. About an hour and a half.
I'll take it.
Yeah, so but we all agree Rutgers is going to win, right? No one's taking
Rutgers
Howard
is
to
going to
win.
win.
Yeah,
I'd take Howard.
Okay.
I'd take the points though. 30. I don't know. If
Oh, you
Rutgers
are? Okay.
Yeah, I don't know if Rutgers can score that much.
Whew.
I just don't. I think it's going to be closer to like a 31-7 type of game. I think
Chris did
36.
the math.
I think 36 and a half is just too much. I know he did, but
163
I don't know. I just can't believe
I don't
it.
know. I don't know. I'm not
I don't believe in a Greg Schiano offense. I believe in a Greg Schiano defense.
So
I just don't believe in a Greg Schiano.
And I want to be clear. I'm just giving you a hard time because I'm not going to bet on this game. I
wouldn't bet on this game either. I don't like that. I don't like that.
I try not to bet on FCS squads because it's like I don't know a whole lot about Howard. But Chris, where are you at? Who do you think is going to win? And where would you bet against the spread?
Rutgers, I could see anywhere from 28 to maybe 35 points scored. And 35 is my ceiling. I think that stud, say his last name for me, Monongai, second team all tenor. Yep. You
nailed it.
He hits the end zone at least 3 times.
Okay.
So you're taking Howard against the spread, though.
But you'd take Howard, though.
You're taking the 36 and a half points.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
On to the next one.
One. That night.
So again, I'm on the island. On the island.
Yes.
And you're the gambler. Although I don't know, Chris, do you bet often on games?
Uncle Sam doesn't pay me enough to bet.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Hey,
so the non-gamblers are going against the resident gambler here.
Yeah.
First of all, I want to be very clear. I might end up sprinkling some cash on Ohio State. Yeah, I don't want to completely throw that off the table. I haven't yet, but I for sure am not going to be betting on Rutgers. I'm just giving you. We're going over the spread. I'm giving you a pick. Chris, introduce the game, baby.
Thursday night, that same night at 8 p.m. Eastern. This game will be covered on Fox. You're definitely going to get Gus Johnson. It is ha-has, but we've got UNC coming in against Minnesota. We've got the line is UNC -2. That was as of Monday. So, again, that line has probably, in fact, changed.
Stayed the same.
Okay. Well, again, ladies and gentlemen,
this got 2-2, Mike. Is that what you said?
I got 2, yes. Mm-hmm.
All right, cool. Yeah.
This game, this might be a quick game because, again, we've got Minnesota, who's got arguably one of the deepest backfields in the Big Ten. And on the other side of the ball, you've got the Omarion Hampton, who's arguably ACC's best running back, coming back from last year where he had 1,500 yards. Hey, a lot of running the ball in this game. It might be a quick one. You blink, you might miss it. But also, Coach Mac Brown has announced that he does intend on playing both quarterbacks, Max Johnson and Connor Harrell, in this game. So, again, if you got two, you ain't got one. Mac Brown is still figuring it out.
So this is one that I am leaning heavily towards North Carolina. I'm probably going to put money on it because it's the only good Thursday night game. I do have some trepidation because Mac Brown is not good early season. He's just flat out not. That's when North Carolina predominantly loses their games, or they struggle against the spread. And neither one of these guys is Drake May. Now, I will say that Max Johnson can sling the ball. We saw him. I think he was at Texas A&M and LSU. He can sling the bitch, but I just don't know if Minnesota's got enough firepower to hang with UNC. So I do like UNC here. As of now, I'd have no money on it, but I want to be honest with you guys. I probably will be putting money on this game. Chris, where are you at? Who you taking to win and who you taking for the spread?
I'm gonna go with UNC again. I don't know what other offense Minnesota really has other than that running back room. I would want to think that Mac Brown's got a little bit more talent on the outside than Minnesota does. So I'll take UNC by 2. Yeah, I'll take them.
Yeah, this one was easy for me. I think Carolina is significantly better team than Minnesota, although I definitely like PJ Fleck. I just don't think that they're just quite good enough. I think that Carolina's just a little bit better. I think Mac Brown has a little bit more experience, and yes, he does have issues with early season games, but I like Carolina too. And it's two. That's so close. 2 points is I think
It's
I
scary.
would take. It is scary, but I take the under 50 and a half. I'd take the under.
Yeah. I would take the under as well.
I take the under though, for sure.
I don't mind that. I probably won't be betting on that, but I don't mind your thought process there. All right. On to the next one, baby.
On to the next one. Hey, same night again on an hour later on the Big Ten Network. We got Eastern Illinois coming into Illinois again. Eastern Illinois finished 8-3 last year. They returned 10 starters on the offensive side of the ball. They also last year led the FCS in the turnover margin, forced 25 turnovers. Illinois minus 28 in this game.
I'm not going to bet on this game because Eastern Illinois is an FCS school best known for producing Jimmy Garoppolo,
Yes.
Antonio Romo, right? Yeah.
Yes.
I lean Illinois. I think Illinois is going to win the game. I think that Illinois can beat that spread. I think that they're really going to try to expand the offense. They seem to really like Luke Altmaier, so that's where my money. I'm not going to bet on it, but that's where my money would probably go. Chris,
I take Illinois and I take the spread.
Ooh. I'm taking Eastern. I think 28's a lot. I think that's a lot. I think 28's laying a lot. I think the Illini win.
we need to get a soundboard. I need to get a soundboard so that whenever somebody's on an island, they're picking a game by themselves, we can play the Girls Gone Wild steel drum music. You know what I mean? Like they're on an island. You know what I mean?
I'll work up when you overbid on a showcase from The Price is Right. How about that?
Yeah. There you go.
Yeah, no,
All right, on to the next one.
I just can't buy in the Illini winning.
I can feel it on that one. The following day, Friday, 7 p.m. Eastern. This game is on the Big Ten Network as well. Friday, 7 Eastern. We've got Florida Atlantic coming into Michigan State. Hey, we've got Florida Atlantic with our old friend Tom Herman. He's coming on in, as well as Jonathan Smith coming over from Michigan State from Oregon State after that Mel Tucker departure. Smith brings with him 61 new players, including 24 transfers after 38 players left following Mel Tucker's dismissal. And that last one there, Josh, go ahead and read that for me the way I want you to read that last one for me.
Ooh, Childs.
Oh, no. I wanted you to go, ooh, Childs, things are going to be good.
I was going for more like a sexual moaning. I'm sorry.
He's too young for that. He's too young for that.
That's what
For the same age.
I'll start off this one because I've been going last. I can't in my right mind pick Florida Atlantic. I think Michigan State wins by a lot. I think Florida Atlantic's really bad, even with all the transfers and the fact that, shout out to Tom Herman, during his press conference this week said that during his time in the Big Ten, it was louder in Spartan Stadium than it was in Michigan. So shout out to Tom Herman for continuing to kind of give little subtle jabs to the Wolverines. But I can't see FIU doing too much. I think they'll put up a couple points, but I just think that Michigan State, even with all the new players and everything, I just think that they're better than Florida Atlantic, and I think they're better than 14 points.
Chris, I'll let you go. I like what Mike did. We'll reverse with these next three games. So, Chris, you can go next.
Hey, I'm going to take Michigan State by 14. That's easy. 45.5, though, I can see
That's close.
A 38-3 game, but I don't know if I can give you 45. I don't know that.
I agree with you. I'd probably take the under as well.
Yeah.
Josh?
So I agree with you guys. I am probably going to have money on this game, but not because I have a lot of faith in Michigan State. It's more because there's only really 4 good games on Friday, and I'm a degenerate. I want to be very honest, though. This game does scare me a little bit because Florida Atlantic's not terrible out of conference. They hung with Illinois last year. They didn't hang with Clemson, but Clemson didn't I don't think Clemson beat the spread against them. So it is a little nerve-wracking. I think that Tom Herman. We're talking about Michigan State, though.
That's true. That's true.
So, like, they're better than Michigan. But either way, I'm with you guys. I don't have to. I just want to be very clear that this is not something that I'm like, take my money. There's definitely some trepidation.
Sure.
But yeah, I'll ride with you guys.
And we ride on to the next one on Friday as well, 9 p.m. This game is on Fox Sports 1. Western Michigan comes into Camp Randall Stadium. We've got Western Michigan. Hey, it's still a work in progress, but they do return that veteran quarterback, Hayden Wolf. Wisconsin and Luke Fickell want to get Miami transfer Tyler Van Dyke up to speed. And let's be real, the Badgers have Alabama and a trip to USC coming up. So this game is a tune-up for them, as well as their following game with South Dakota to get them up to speed. The line is Wisconsin and 24.
Mike, you want to hit this one first?
Sure. It's actually the line has gone down a little bit. It's 23 and a half. So just a point it went down. I still like the Badgers either way. I think that Wisconsin year two in this new air raid offense, I think Fickell's kind of worked out some of the issues. All the players, even though there's a new starting quarterback, all the players a little bit more familiar with what they're trying to run. And I think this is, the beginning of, Wisconsin kind of coming back to Big Ten relevance for a portion of time there. In the early 2010s, they were constantly fighting for Big Ten championships. And I think that that's the ceiling for Wisconsin. I don't think that they're really ever going to be a national title contender. And they might have a one-off year here and there. But I think Big Ten championships is a very solid, point for them. And, I feel like this is the beginning of them starting to kind of get into that groove and kind of making a return to the upper echelon of the Big Ten. So I take the Badgers.
And the point.
Yeah,
Points?
Badgers the points.
You're giving the points?
Yeah, I take the points.
All right. I checked DraftKings before that. I was using DraftKings. I checked DraftKings before. Their line is 23.
Okay.
Just throwing it out there. I know it's not a huge difference from 23 to 23 and a half, but 23 is a huge difference from 24 because as everybody is aware, 24 is a key number because you have 3 touchdowns and a field goal, right? That you have to win by. Now you don't have to do that as much. But Chris, where are you at on this?
Oh, Wisconsin wins. They cover the spread. I don't know if I'll take 57 and a half, though. I don't know if I take I've got some faith in Tyler Van Dyke. I think he was okay enough at Miami. I think he's in a sense a bigger fish in a smaller pond. I hate to say that about Wisconsin, but the dynamic of the Big Ten of being what it is today. I mean, I don't know, but yeah, I take him to 24, but I don't know if I get him. I'm going to go with the under on 57 and a half.
All right, cool. So I am going to have money on this game. I'm actually I think I'm going to bet on Wisconsin giving 23 points as well because I don't have a whole lot of confidence in that spread. I do think that this is a unique teaser option. They say not to tease college football, but if you look at 23 points, that means that Wisconsin has to win by more than 3 touchdowns. If you tease it down to 17 points, Wisconsin can win by 3 touchdowns and you win your money. I know that sounds silly and they say not to do that, but I feel like that is something that I am going to do despite what most people recommend not to do. So that I can guarantee. So I am definitely going to take Wisconsin given 17, and I'm probably am also going to take Wisconsin given 23 just because I'm a degenerate. Tyler Van Dyke looked like shit last year. I like him. He's got big-time first-round potential. But Wisconsin, I don't know what Luke Fickell's trying to do up there. This might be a situation where I don't want to say Luke Fickell's on the hot seat, but unless he can get the dairy rate is it's not working, man. They had Braylon Allen last year. He's got to adjust something. They can't run the dairy rate again. They can't do what they did last year, or it's just going to be a recipe for disaster. And you could see it this week. But I'm with you guys. I think we're all agree that Wisconsin can hammer. Chris,
we think Van Dyke's got big time first round talent. Really,
I think he's got first round ceiling. Right, that was the hype around him 2 years ago when he was slinging the rock. I think he took a step back. I think that we can all agree that his height was much better than DJU's height, and DJU looked as a savior for Florida State for 30 seconds. Why? I don't know. But I mean, if he's looked at as a state, and I think that we can all agree Tyler Van Dyke looks like he's better than Tanner Mordecai, who was not good. Well, I shouldn't say was. No, I feel like he wasn't good last year, right? I mean, I know he was beat up, and I feel bad saying that, but he wasn't good. So Tyler Van Dyke, he's got a much higher ceiling, and even if he doesn't reach that ceiling, he should be better than Tanner Mordecai. What that means for Wisconsin, I don't know.
Okay. I can get on that shit.
I can give him that too.
Okay. Our next game, our first game for Saturday, we've got number 8 Penn State going in to West Virginia. That is a Saturday noon Fox game for me on the West Coast. That is a game I have to get up at 9 a.m. for. Ooh. Game notes. Hey, James Franklin, he enters his 11th year at Penn State. That still kind of blows my mind. I can't believe it's been 11 years. Penn State won their matchup last year as a season opener in Happy Valley, 38-15. Penn State's got Allen and Singleton back. They were good enough for 28th yards per game on the ground, but West Virginia was even better in third with 228 yards per game on the ground. Both of those running backs return as well. We've got Penn State 8.5 as of Monday. What do we got now?
8.
So it's slimmed down a bit.
Just a tiny bit, but is that really going to change my decision? No. I'd still take Penn State. As you mentioned, West Virginia does have a couple good running backs, but I think the Penn State defensive line is one of the best in the country. Dennis Sutton is one of the best edge rushers in the Big Ten and in the nation. I just can't see Penn State, even though they're on the road, I just can't see them losing by less. They're not winning by more than 8.5. I don't see them losing, and I'd probably take that over too.
Yeah, I'm.
So you're taking Penn State, also Penn State giving.
I take the over. Yeah. I take the points and the over. Yeah.
Yep, I'm in the same boat. I'm taking Penn State. I'm taking the points. I'm taking the over. I expect a lot of offense. I expect the first time we see some awesome college football atmosphere kicking it off right on noon Sunday. I think it's going to be an awesome game.
Okay, you guys are confusing the fuck out of me when you say given the. What do you guys say? I'm taking the points.
You're taking the points.
Is that what you guys are saying? That's what I'm like.
That's what I'm saying.
I know when you say that, it makes me feel like you're taking the underdog because that's who's taking the points, and I'm like, fuck. Got it. I got it now. But it was confusing me. I'm with you guys. I kind of everything Mike said I agree with. The whole thing that made West Virginia so good last year was that their offensive line, those guys were all like over the age of 40 years old, right? They lost most of those guys. Garrett Green's a fine quarterback. But Penn State's defensive line is, I feel like, pretty goddamn unstoppable. I feel like this is a playoff caliber team. This would be a huge red flag to me if they lose outright. But I do think, and a lot of people are calling for that. I have not bet on a single game Saturday yet. That's on my bad because I've been so busy at work. I apologize. But I do like Penn State here. This is, something that I have circled as something to revisit. No money yet, but I like I said, I think Penn State is far more talented. For some reason, West Virginia's getting a lot of hype, and a lot of people are talking about the home field advantage. We're talking about Penn State plays in the Big Ten. They see home field advantage all the time. They play in the shoe. They play in the big house. So I'm not too worried about it. All right.
Next, we got Illinois State at Iowa. That is Saturday at noon as well. It is on the Big Ten Network. Reminder, Kirk Ferentz, he is suspended for the opener for previous recruiting violations.
See, that's how you handle it, Jim Harbaugh.
Just take it like a man.
Exactly.
We've got Cade McNamara steps into the QB1 role to get that offense up off the ground. And, of course, that Iowa defense is back. We've got, as of Monday, it was Iowa 22.5. What do we got it now?
Same thing.
Same thing.
Lead us off, Josh.
Yeah, you have to. I don't have any money on this game. I'm probably not going to bet on this game because Illinois State's in the FCS. I don't know a whole lot about Illinois State, but I do know that Iowa's breaking a new offensive coordinator, Tim Lester, who was the head coach at Western Michigan, who was not too shabby. He should be a more creative offensive mind than Brian Ferentz. They're going to be looking to break in Cade McNamara. Their new running, trying to figure out who their lead back is. So I do like Iowa. Even given the 22.5, that's probably where I would lean. Chris, what do you think?
Oh, I'm taking Iowa. I can see them winning by more than 22.5. Again, I don't have any idea what their running backs look like. And again, if we need to see some offense out of this team, this is where the week where you see it.
Yep.
I am not buying Iowa's offense until I see it. I'm just not.
Fair.
I cannot, in good conscience, until I see it, I wouldn't take Iowa with that big of a spread. So I'm not going to take Iowa with that big of a spread. I'm going to take Illinois State. I do think Iowa wins. I think you're looking at like a 20-3 type of game. So I don't think that they're going to cover that. So yeah, I'm going to take Illinois State. I'm just not buying it. I'd take the under as well, the points too. Until I see an Iowa offense put up more than 3 touchdowns, and maybe the defense scores 2 touchdowns and does it themselves, right? The offense scores what, 10 points, right? Like that is entirely possible.
Yeah.
But until I see an Iowa offense actually move the ball and be able to put points up on the board, I'm not going to believe it until I see it. And I just can't believe it.
That's fair.
Fair enough. Saturday at noon as well, we've got UConn coming into Maryland. This game is on FS1. Remember, hey, Maryland, they've got to replace their boy Tagovailoa. I always mess that up somehow. But, of course, Roman Hemby comes back at running back. Maryland has won each of its last 12 games against non-conference opponents, and Connecticut has lost each of its last 10 road openers. As of Monday, it was Maryland 20.5. What was it now?
Stayed the same.
I'm going to take Maryland. I think they can win by 20 points. I would say I take the under, though.
So you're taking Maryland, So I did find Maryland at 20 flat. It doesn't really matter in this scenario. I mean,
sure.
It's not a key number. But you're taking Maryland given the 20, Chris?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, I'm with you, dude. Connecticut sucks. I think Jim Moore Jr. is still over there. They've done some interesting things under his regime, but Maryland's a talented team. They've always been a very average Big Ten team. They lose the tag, but they get MJ Morris from North Carolina State, who's likely going to start at North Carolina State before he left. And he can run around. Even if he sucks, he should be able to run around for a victory.
He can run around.
So, yeah, I'm with you.
I'm actually
Mike, where you at?
You can play the music for this one. I think Maryland's they're losing like their offense in Tullian, like completely. He wanted to come back. He petitioned to come back for another year. The NCAA denied him. I just don't know if they're going to be able to put up enough points. Do I think they win? Yes. Do I think they beat UConn by 20.5? No. So I'm taking UConn getting that almost 3 touchdowns, and then on top of that, I'm going to take the under. I take the under. I don't think a lot of points are going to be scored in this one.
Okay, that's fair.
Okay, with it. Next game, and again, hey, the 37 viewers, thank you for watching. Hey, we've got Indiana State at Purdue Saturday, another noon game. This noon game is on the Big Ten Network. And me personally, I think, hey, the Boilermakers arguably have one of the tougher schedules in the Big Ten. They need to get off to a good start. Indiana State's coming in from last season only having 1 win. And, of course, Purdue brings back Hudson Carr, Maccabee, and Indiana State running back Ples Lawrence, who is a Kokomo native. Kokomo.
Oh,
love that. No spread for this one as of Monday.
32.5 on DraftKings.
Yeah, I apologize. I glossed over this one. I didn't. I'll have this one on. Oops.
Do you want me to start this one off?
You start. Yeah, you start off while I take a quick peek.
Again, I'm not going to bet on this game. I don't bet on Indiana State. That's a huge unknown. I know that they suck. Purdue's got some intriguing talent. Hudson Card has gained, they say, 15 pounds of pure muscle. I guess they've reloaded on defensive line from what I've heard. They got a pretty good defensive backfield. Doesn't matter. Indiana State blows. This is a team that's going to try to start off quick. You're going to find a common theme with a lot of my picks. I pretty much took all the favorites. The early season, I've learned to kind of not be afraid of the big margin. That ended up backfiring because I went 0-2 last week. But talent usually, again, kind of what we talked about Ohio State. The backups for Purdue should be favored against Indiana State by 2 touchdowns. So based off of that math alone, I feel pretty confident in leaning Purdue's way. Chris, what do you think?
Hey, Purdue wins. Purdue wins big. Simple as that.
So you're dropping the 32.5?
32.5? Yeah.
I'd take it.
Cool.
I'd take this one. I'll take the favorite as well. I'd take Purdue. I think Indiana State's horrendous.
All right, cool. Easy peasy.
Easy. And on Saturday, 3:30 Eastern. This is
wait. For we all Paul, am I the only one that took Ohio State? Because we did that one before. I didn't write it down.
Yes.
Okay, so you guys both took Akron. All right, got it.
Correct.
49 points. Got it. All right, cool. Move on. I'm sorry.
Right.
I'd
Absolutely.
like to see it, but it's a lot.
Right after that Purdue game on the Big Ten Network, you can watch FIU at Indiana, 3:30 game. Again, Indiana. Curt Cignetti, hey, that era begins. You got Curtis Rourke coming over from Ohio University. You got Elijah Surratt, that stud. FIU has won a combined 9 games in the last 4 years. The line is Indiana 21.5 as of Monday. I don't know what it is now.
22.
Same.
22.
I still see 21.5, just for the record.
Yeah, ESPN
Not
has
not a huge difference.
Yeah, not a huge difference.
Hey, I'll get it. Hey, Indiana wins. They win by more than 21, and I don't know, 51 points is a lot, but I do think Indiana's got some nice new weapons on the offensive side of the ball. I can't tell you if I take the over or the under just yet.
Yeah, I agree with you. I'm taking Indiana. I think 22 is a good number for them. I'd take the over. I think Indiana's going to score a lot, and I think Florida Atlantic's going to score a couple. Not a lot, but I think Indiana's going to score a good amount because I think Curt Cignetti is going to want to kind of establish himself as a coach, and I think he's going to intentionally run up the score.
Love to see it.
Yeah, I agree with what Mike's saying. Curt Cignetti's an absolute baller. In 3 years, we're going to talk about him being the best coach in the Big Ten. He's going to start out firing. I mean, he brought over basically all the studs from James Madison. He brought over, plus Curtis Rourke, who's one of the most athletic quarterbacks in the country. He's going to, that's kind of been a theme as well for early season. Look back historically, new coaches explode during the first week against lesser opponents because they want to show what they have. So yeah, I'm going to take Indiana given 21.5 points to the airport.
All right. And Saturday, that same 3:30 time schedule there, you can flip it over to Fox and catch UTEP at Nebraska. You've got Nebraska, as of Monday, it was 27.5. That is now what?
Same.
27.5, same.
All right, game notes. Hey, the Matt Rule era begins, and Nebraska's putting a lot of hopes on this young quarterback, Dylan Raiola. Hey, Nebraska's defense, they bring back 9 of 13 players who played at least 300 snaps last year, and Utah has lost 8 of its last 9 road openers. Go ahead, Mike.
I see Nebraska lighting it up. I think Dylan Raiola is going to introduce himself to the country. UTEP's offense is horrendous. Excuse me. And I just think that this is the year where, Nebraska kind of is a little bit more relevant than they've been in the past few years. I think that Matt Rule has got the program kind of headed in the right direction. I do think that Dylan Raiola is going to have a couple bumps along the road during this year, but I don't think one of that bumps is going to be this week against UTEP. So I'm taking the Huskers. I'm taking the points, and I'll probably take that over as well.
Chris,
I'm taking Nebraska. I'm taking the points. I'm taking the over. Honestly, I think that Nebraska could be 7-0 coming into Ohio Stadium. I think they can be. I really do. I think they'd be 7 before they get the shit kicked out of them in Ohio Stadium. But hey, I'm intrigued in this one. I want to see Matt Rule's second year. I do, in fact, want to see Dylan Raiola or Patrick Mahomes Jr. Some people are touting him. So, yeah.
Yeah, man, I agree with everything you're saying. I don't know if Patrick Mahomes is ready, but no, they're gonna line him up. Matt Rule's a great coach. Again, one of the best in the Big Ten, in my opinion. And like you guys said, he's going to want to display that offense against a pretty overpowered UTEP team. So on to the next one.
On to the next one. In that same 3:30 slot, we've got Miami of Ohio at Northwestern. One of y'all need to tell me where they're actually playing this game.
No one knows.
On
Aren't
the
they
lake.
playing at the weird practice field?
It's
So,
a
yeah,
yes.
So right now,
Yes.
there is, I believe, and I haven't gone by. So Evanston is very close to where I live. My wife is, she was raised in Evanston. I lived in Evanston until I was 6. So like, I know the area. So family that lives close. We drive by. Actually, my son was born in Evanston Hospital, literally walking distance away from the stadium. So there's nothing there. Last time I saw it was flat. They demolished everything. And what they're doing is they have their practice stadium. It's not actually a stadium. They built just grandstands. I think it holds like 22,000, I think. Don't quote me on that. It's a small number, a very small number. And it's literally absolutely gorgeous. It is right on the lake. Like the lake is right there. It's got a great view of downtown Chicago, right along the shoreline. It's good. I think it's really cool where they're doing it. I think that if I was Northwestern, I might consider, I guess they can't really do it anymore, but I would have considered actually erecting a real stadium there, because that view, they could have like a half dome and then keep the view looking out into the lake, or just put up like small grandstands like they used to have in the old stadium at Ryan Field. I think it's a gorgeous environment for them. And I have them winning. I think the line is 3 now. Moved up a little bit. I think they win by more than 3. I think this is one of the few wins that the Wildcats have this year too. I would take the under, though. I don't think there's going to be a lot of points.
I think Northwestern wins this game. I'm definitely taking the under. Unless we see some kind of crazy shootout. I think that quarterback, I don't think it's going to happen. Don't get me wrong. The quarterback from Miami of Ohio, the Brett Gabbert, he had the gruesome leg injury last year. He's back. Red Hawks were good last year. MAC champions.
They didn't score a lot of points, though.
Didn't score a lot of points, no. I don't think they scored more than like 28 points all season long. But fun game. I got Northwestern winning. I'll take the 2. You said 3. I'll take the 3, but I'm going with the under at 39.5.
So I'm with you guys. I got Northwestern as well, given the 3 points. Now, the distinction between 2.5 and 3, it's only half a point, but it is absolutely vital, right? That 3 is that key number. No longer can you win the game by just a field goal. So that is a big deal. I'm not going to bet on the total. I don't think I've commented on a total all day, but you guys are both taking the under. I'm kind of surprised by that. I kind of do lean the over here. Northwestern's breaking in. I think the coach at Northwestern and he did a great job last year. They're bringing in Mike Wright. Mike Wright runs around. Miami is very good. Miami offense was not bad. It wasn't explosive, but it did its job, and it did its job efficiently. I think that Brett Gabbert's a very good quarterback if he is healthy. But again, I think that Northwestern puts him away. I'm a lot higher Northwestern than Mike was, as we talked about. I put money on their team win total over preseason. So, and I think this is where they kind of show it. And I think that they, we talked about their running backs are okay. They got a couple wide receivers that are okay. And Mike Wright basically sucks, but he runs around. That's kind of what you look for in shitty teams, playing shitty teams. So yeah, I like it.
I will definitely be tuning in. I do want to see the atmosphere. I do want to see the stadium, see what everything looks like for this field that they were going to be playing. Like I said, it is Lanny and Sharon Martin Stadium is what is listed. And I think I read somewhere that it was the university's lacrosse field they've transitioned to.
I think that's right. Yeah, or soccer or some shit. Yeah.
Okay. All right. On to the next one. Saturday, 7:30 Eastern, we've got Idaho coming into number 3, Oregon. Again, what more do you need to say about Oregon? Dylan Gabriel takes over at the helm. He's a Heisman favorite. Oregon's is equally talented on both sides of the ball. The Vandals went 9-4 last year. That's something. In the Big Sky, I did not have a spread for this one as of Monday.
43.5.
40. You said
What do you got,
43 and a
Josh?
half?
Yeah, what do you got?
43 and a half.
43.5.
43 and a half. Yep.
I'm
You want to kick this one off? You want me to kick it off?
Go ahead.
I lead Oregon. This is a game I'm not betting on. Anybody who's familiar with the Idaho Vandals know that they used to be the FBS and they play in the Kibbe Dome, one of the most destructive forces in NCAA 14 from my recollection. But you know, they're going to want to come out there. Dan Lanning's Idaho's not good, and Dan Lanning is going to want to break in his new weapons, right? He's breaking in Dylan Gabriel, he's breaking in Evan Stewart, he's breaking in some new offensive line pieces. So 43.5 points is a lot. I don't have any money on it. I'm not going to be betting on it. But that's where I lean for sure. Chris?
Okay. Hey, I'm taking Oregon. I'm taking Oregon big. I'll take the 43. We say, hey, Dan Lanning wants to break in these weapons. I think Dan Lanning wants to come in and show the entire world in the Big Ten what he's got, and I think he's going to do it early and often.
Yeah, initially I had Idaho, but I think I'm going to change my mind and go to Oregon. I just feel like, you know, again, I think a lot of it has to do with, you know, like it was close. You know, I think that if like initially if it was like 38, like I'm for sure taking Oregon. And so I was pretty close with that. And I think that, you know, like you guys said, he's going to just try and light it. I think he's going to want to show everybody across the country that this team is one of the best teams out there, and they're going to run up the score. So yeah, I'd probably I'd take the points there. You know, although it's a big number. And then the over.
He's got Dante Moore as a backup too.
Yeah,
so.
I know the over 62.5. I think that they go over that too. So I'm taking Oregon on the points.
All right. Game 14 of 17 in the Big Ten. We got Saturday night under the lights. We've got Fresno State coming into the Big House. Again, this game is actually on NBC, 7:30 p.m. Obviously, hey, Michigan looks a lot different. I said, hey, pending NCAA ruling looming over Michigan, ? I guess that we'll wait another couple months for that shit.
Yep.
Let's be real. But hey, Fresno State has won 4 of its last 5 games as a dog.
Oh, interesting.
As of Monday, it was Michigan 21.5.
It has dropped a point, Josh. What do you have it at? You have 21?
21.
I have 20. I have 20.5.
We got to make a decision on this one because those are vastly different numbers. These are all.
And this is ESPN. ESPN's book is 20.5.
You want to just cut it in the middle? Use 21 then.
Sure.
I like Michigan here. Jeff Tedford, all those stats you rolled off, about all the good stuff about Fresno State, that happened to Jeff Tedford, who's a very good coach, right? That's the guy who coached Aaron Rodgers at Cal. You know, that he's gone now. Midsummer gone. Like went through spring games and then he left. That sucks for them. Michigan's still Michigan. Very talented defense. Huh? I don't know what it was. I don't know what it was. He just said he stepped down due to health reasons, but I don't think Sharon Moores already has head coaching experience. He beat Ohio State, right? He's probably at the very worst an average coach, right? At the very worst, he might even be a good coach, and they still return one of the best defenses in college football. I might not put money on it, but I definitely like Michigan enough. I lean Michigan here. Chris?
Hey, Fresno State has won 4 of its last 5 as a dog, but hey, they're not winning this one. I'll take Michigan. I'll take Michigan by 21. I'd love to see if Alex Orji is going to beat out this walk-on to be the starting quarterback. That hasn't been divulged. That hasn't been stated yet, so who knows? But, they still got a stellar defense. They still have Donovan Edwards back there. I take Michigan, and I'll take the 21.
Yeah, I agree with you guys. I think it's not a big line. I think Michigan's better than that. I think they're going to they're going to play their starters a little bit longer than they should because they have to figure out who the hell their quarterback is. So I think you're going to see a lot of their ones playing into the third, potentially the fourth quarter, because you got to figure that out. You got to figure it out soon. And if they're still having a battle and this is game week, you have to figure that they're, confused and don't know what to do. Alex Orji, I think his issue is that he's clearly a better runner than he is a thrower. And, if he's their guy, then their offense is going to look significantly different than it has under J.J. McCarthy in the last few years. And I feel like although they were very run predictable already, I think that's going to be even more run predictable going forward if Orji is that guy. I think Davis Warren is also in this mix. I think he's a former 5-star recruit. He's not the walk-on, clearly. I think they're going to play multiple quarterbacks. So I think they're going to try and put up as many points as possible. So, I definitely like Michigan. Even though that it's 21. And I take the over on the 45.5 too.
Okay. I like it. Saturday night, 7:30 Eastern on CBS. You've got UCLA at Hawaii. That was, as of Monday, UCLA with 14. Over-under was 54.5. Still the same?
Still the same.
Still the same. Hey, Hawaii has already got their week 1 jitters out of the way. They played on week 0. From what I saw from the game, hey, it seems like the special teams carried Hawaii a good bit in the distance. This is Deshaun Foster, an offensive. You've got Eric Bieniemy. Say it for me. Bieniemy.
Bieniemy.
Okay. Always jack it up. Hey, this is their debut. And again, UCLA looks for productivity from Ethan Garbers. Also, they look to keep him upright as well. I'll take UCLA and I'll take 14.
So I looked at this one long and hard because I really wanted to take UCLA. At the end of the day, I don't have the balls. I do think that Timmy Chang is a little bit of an overrated coach. He gets a lot of hype because he, broke all those records at Hawaii, but he hasn't. Hawaii looked like shit last week against a really, really bad Delaware State team. And he was not – Hawaii didn't light the world on fire last year. So I really wanted to take UCLA, but I have zero confidence in Deshaun. I just don't have the – there's a lot of travel involved. Deshaun Foster did not instill confidence in me. So I'm going to say UCLA because I have to pick one on this pod, but there will be no money placed on this game. That I can guarantee you.
Okay.
Ring the bell again. Ring the bell. I'm taking Hawaii. UCLA has a really bad roster. I think that it shows again. They have to travel out into the islands to play. The heat out there is a little bit different than California. Even though it's a night game, it's still hot. And it's still hot. And I think they're going to have a difficult time with that. I mean, it says it's 8, the graphic here that Chris got up there. I mean, yeah, it's a 7:30 Eastern start, but it's 4:30. The sun's still going to be out over there in Hawaii. I just feel like that's not a good sign for the Bruins. So I'm taking the Rainbow Warriors in this one.
I've read it in a couple different places, this Clarence T.C. Ching Athletics Complex. I've heard a lot of people in a lot of groups and a lot of boards like, I've played at high school facilities better than this place. So I'm interested to check it, tune into that one.
Interesting.
Yeah. And the last one for Saturday, this will be 11 p.m. Eastern. It is Weber State at Washington. It is the first ever meeting between both schools. The Jed Lasso era begins. Of course, Washington lost all 11 starters on that side of the ball. But hey, Will Rogers III, the SEC's second all-time leading passer, is taking over. As of Monday, it was Washington 27.5.
It is still. Oh no, I'm sorry. It's 27. What do you got, Josh?
27.
27.
Yeah. Yep. 27. Yep.
Okay. So it went down a point. That's not going to matter for me either way. I'm still taking Washington here. I think that they're going to rout Weber State. I think it's going to be a big margin. The over-under right now is 52.5. I'd probably lean towards the under. I don't think Weber State's going to score a lot. I think Washington State is, but I don't think they're going to get to that 52.5.
Chris?
Complete agreement with you. I'd say they win by 27. I can see a 38-0 game. I can see 38-0.
I think that sounds about right.
Yeah, I agree with you guys. I'm not going to put money on this because Weber State is in the FCS, but Weber State has not been the same since Jay Hill left. Jay Hill was an offensive mastermind for Weber. I can't remember where he's at now, but he's up in the coordinator at the FBS level. And the coach went like 6-5 last year, so they're already kind of falling off the map a little bit. Plus, Washington, they're in the Big Ten, right? The roster is much better, right? I know Mike and I disagree on how much better, but we both agree that they're better than Weber State. So I'm going to take Washington. I'm kind of surprised you guys are taking the under. Again, I'm not going to be betting on this game, but the over, I mean, dude, it would not surprise me if Washington won 65-0. You know what I mean? Jed Fish likes to throw the ball. He's going to see what he wants to see what he has weapon wise. He kind of already knows what he has running back wise, running game wise. So I would assume him to light it up through the air for a good portion of the game. But that's where I'm at. We all kind of agree though.
Yep.
No, absolutely. And to the last game of the Big Ten schedule for Week 1, and again, hey, to the 40 viewers, thank you for tuning in. We've got number 23 USC and number 13 LSU Sunday, 7:30 Eastern. This game will be played at Allegiant Stadium in Las Vegas, Nevada. And as All-American left tackle Will Campbell said earlier today, hey, they are not going to gamble and go to Caesars. They're going to get into a fist fight.
Yes.
Love that.
I love it.
Love that.
Great call up there, Chris. Love it.
Loved it. I heard it on the radio when I was coming back from lunch. Hey, Caleb Williams is out. Miller Moss is in. Jaden Daniels is out. Garrett Nussmeier is in. Hey, defensive struggles for both teams. For yards allowed, LSU was 108th in the country, but USC was even worse at 119th in the country. Lincoln Riley brings in defensive coordinator D'Anton Lee. And again, this will be played in Vegas at Allegiant Stadium. So please ignore that weather of 105 degrees there. They're going to be playing.
I don't think the roof will be open for that.
No, not a chance. And this game is on ABC/ESPN, depending on what kind of streaming you watch on. As of Monday, it was LSU 4.5. What is it now?
It has
4
dropped to 4. Yes. I'm taking LSU. I think that they're the better team. Even though as you pointed out, Chris, both teams are breaking in new quarterbacks. I just feel like LSU has an advantage in the trenches here. And I think that's where they're going to win out because they're better up on the line. So I think that, in this one, for a long time, and I'll continue to think this until Lincoln Riley proves me otherwise. Everyone talks about how soft Ryan Day is. I think if there's a softer coach out there, it's Lincoln Riley. I think his teams play with too much of a finesse style of game. And as we've seen, that doesn't work all the time. And I think that's going to be a detriment to them in this one. And I like LSU. I'd probably take the over. I think a lot of points are going to get scored. The over 64.5. I think both teams are going to go over 30.
Yeah, go on, Chris. I'm sorry to interrupt.
Oh, you're fine. Hey, I'm taking LSU. I can see a 35-38 game. I could see that without question. But I could also see a 40-21. I could see LSU kind of pulling away and I don't know, but I'm definitely taking LSU. I think they are tougher up front on both sides of the ball than USC is, and we're going to see Miller Moss get acclimated very quickly, which our friend Donovan, I hope he gets acclimated. He hopes he gets acclimated pretty quickly as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with everything you guys are saying. I think Mike brought up a good point with the trenches. Will Campbell's the offensive line's great. Harold Perkins on the other side of the defensive line for LSU. LSU's defense really sucked last year. They use Harold Perkins in a lot of weird, strange ways. Kind of like Michigan did with Aiden Hutchinson against Georgia. You watch
him just go back off the edge and just go get the quarterback. That's all you got.
Yeah, he was like he was like their version of Baron Browning, just that never really seemed like they can mesh with him. I'm thinking that that's going to be different this year. So, that's going to be a huge change. We saw Nussmeier in the bowl game. Looked all right, looked capable. So I'm not too worried about the new quarterback. So yeah, I'm with you guys. I think I'm on LSU as well. I will be betting on this game. I'm not super confident in it, but I'm a degenerate, so LSU will be getting my money.
I love the DJ. Love the DJ.
Love it.
Anything else on the agenda, boys?
We hit it all with
Josh?
I did have there were 3 other games that I am going to put money on that I didn't want. I felt like a pussy as we're going through the list, and I have money on like 2 games, but there are 3 games I am definitely going to pour it on. Jacksonville State's giving 2.5 points to Coastal Carolina tomorrow. Jacksonville State's coached by Rich Rodriguez, who did a great job in his first year down there. Coastal Carolina is coached by our good friend Tim Beck, who we know is the unfantastic offensive coordinator, who that the program is slowly going to deteriorate underneath his feet now that Jamie Chadwell is gone. So I feel like tomorrow's going to be the first day of that. Especially now that quarterback Grayson McCall is gone. Friday night, I will have money on Oklahoma, giving 42.5 to Temple. They're going to want to unleash Jackson Arnold, and Temple's not very good, right? Oklahoma kind of feels like Brandon Venables, and Oklahoma kind of has something to prove with the SEC move, and kind of he's a little bit on the hot seat. People aren't super hyped about him. So I feel like this is a good opportunity to get those jitters out. And I am going to put money on Syracuse, giving 17 to Ohio. That's Saturday. I don't think that Syracuse I feel like everybody thinks I think Syracuse is going to be so good because I talk about Common Core all the time. I don't even think Syracuse is going to be bowl eligible, but I do think that the games that they shine, they are going to look good, and this is one of them. So I think you're going to see the McCord, Arande Getz, and Junior connection really light up a MAC school that is missing their starting quarterback from last year, and their starting running back from last year, and their starting tight end from last year. So that's kind of where we're at. Those are 3 games that I really like.
Ooh. Not bowl eligible, huh? You can't see a 6-5 out of Syracuse.
They could, but I just want to make it clear. Like, it's like not like I'm singing at the rooftops that Syracuse is going to win the ACC. There's a lot of people that have them maybe being a playoff sleeper, and I don't think so. I don't think they're going to be in the hunt. They could be bowl eligible. Perhaps saying they're not bowl eligible is a little extreme. They could be bowl eligible, but I do not foresee them fighting for an ACC title.
Agreed.
Interesting. Well, if you guys don't know anything else, we do want to remind everybody that our fantasy league does get started. So we will give updates on that. I'm very excited to see how that turns out. Obviously, we did a couple episodes back. We did our draft, which obviously was a ton of fun. And we'll see which one of us did the best over the course of the season as we get along. So we'll definitely do updates on that as well. So that'll be fun.
You got Will Howard.
Oh.
Will Howard against Akron should be straight money, my dudes.
Dylan Gabriel in Idaho.
That's fair. That's fair. That's fair.
Yeah, the problem is, he might get pulled early though.
Oh, I know.
That's the problem. Anything else, guys?
Yeah, no, I think that's it, brother.
Hey, to the 42 viewers, thank you very much.
Thank you. Appreciate the listen. Make sure you follow our and like, subscribe, all that crap on our YouTube page. We're still trying to get those numbers up. If you could do that, we'd very much appreciate it. You can follow me on X at Mike F. Chen. Josh?
At Josh Keatley 16.
Chris?
And you can follow me here on Wednesdays.
Well, once again, we always appreciate the listen. Let's go beat them Zips. Go Bucks.
Go Bucks.
Go Bucks.